Maybe is there a couple of things that the fans or people out there wouldn't know about Pop that you would like to tell them?
He was really looking forward
Thank you so much for coming by to Young Atlas today. I appreciate you here at SoHarlem. Javier has spoken so highly about you. Can you tell us a little bit about the latest fashion show? I was supposed to be there. I saw the content,
Okay.
but I'd love to hear more about it.
So it was our foray into the world of fashion formally,
Okay.
right? It's Fashion Week, so it was our first fashion show in Fashion Week. We've been creating and kind of soft dropping the line since the summer of 24.
Okay.
All right, but so that was our formal step into the fashion world,
Nice.
to say. And it went well. It went well.
It looked great. What made you want to make that step?
That's something Bashar always wanted to do,
Okay.
right? So my task is to kind of complete the things I remembered him talking about,
Gotcha.
right? So he wanted to create designs and fashions and shoes and all that kind of stuff. So
Right.
that's just that's my marching orders.
Okay. Any other tasks you're trying to implement as well?
Well, he always gives back, right? He always
Yeah.
gave back to his community, even to the point of like bringing some of the young people who was in the neighborhood with him to the label, or when he was out in public, just kind of doing things for people. I remember I saw a video where he took off his shoes and sneakers and gave it to a young man. You know what I'm saying? So those kinds of things. So I'm committed to giving back to the community. He wanted to give a set of laptops to the schools.
Nice.
So, we work on making sure that there's technology in schools, that the young people have access to just an environment where they can feel safe, be safe, and recreate themselves.
That's great. And speaking of community, I know the church has played a big part, in your life and neighborhood. But I think in Harlem, it's there's churches on every block here.
Just like Brooklyn.
Just like Brooklyn. But I don't know. It seems like some of the congregations are not as what they used to be, and I think the church is so important in terms of being that anchor in a community, right? Like, can you speak a little bit on the impact that the church has had on your life?
So I grew up, as they say, I grew up in the church. But I mean, I grew up with parents and grandparents who believed in God and believed in church. So that's what we did. Sundays were time for church and special dinners, and that started on Saturday night.
Okay.
And so I raised my children the same way. That on Sundays we go to church. The church that I went to, St. Paul's Community Baptist Church. Instead of having Sunday school on Sunday, they had a creative thing on Saturday. So from 9 to 12 on Saturday, they were, in church doing things, learning about God, but just in a creative, non-traditional form. So it is significant because Reverend Youngblood's whole intention was to make church a place that young people felt safe. So kids would leave school and go to church. You know what I'm saying? After school, they were going to go to the church to hang out. So that's what my kids came up in. I think what's going on now is that you've got a few generation of young people who are unchurched, right? Because they have some questions that some of the elders can't answer. Because I think as the elders, we believe what we were told. It was set for us, and so you accepted what was given to you. We've got a few generations now that have some questions. And it's not that their questioning is incorrect. It's not sacrilegious. But people need to have answers for them. And we don't have answers because we just took things for granted.
Right.
It was your mom and them church.
Yeah.
And so the kids have questions, and we need to answer those questions. So that's being lost, and so we have to figure out because as a people of color, as Africans in America, that's important to us. The Black church shaped us.
Yeah.
The Black church provided a place for us to practice looking like everybody else, right? Feeling important and valued in society. We had our titles in church, even though we didn't have them in the world. So it is absolutely important that the church, the Black church, revitalizes itself and figure out how to bring the children back home, because the way out is back through.
Yeah. You have any ideas how we can maybe implement some of that, getting younger people more involved?
Just create safe space.
Yeah.
Don't judge them when they come.
Right.
However they show up, they show up.
Yeah.
If something is not quote unquote acceptable, we work with it. You don't,
Right.
throw it out or come down on it. Just kind of explain why we don't do it here, or why it's better not to do it here. Right?
Yeah.
Instead of having all those hard and fast rules that you don't have an explanation for, that you can't explain why it should be that way or why we choose
Right.
to have it that way, then sit down.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Leave them alone.
Yeah, because I see on Sundays all these, it's like you live in a bubble here. We don't realize how special these great churches are that are right next to us. And then you see all these tourists from all over the world coming to visit them.
Who know it, but we're not valuing it. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Because we're too busy being mad at God, mad at our parents, and just kind of missing the history of how that has shaped us
Right.
as a people, how our values come from all of that.
Yeah.
Right? And so the pushback is, I guess, if you're mad at what you were taught or what you were given and you feel that it comes from the church, then you get mad at the church. Nah, be upset with the people that translated it for you.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. I like that. So going back a little bit to the fashion world, how what are some things you've learned in that industry so far?
What are some things that I've learned?
Or
Culture is
experiences,
culture is a thing.
Yeah.
Culture is a thing. So again, being thrown into the music world and now kind of walking into the fashion world. I think even as a young person, I chose not to do certain things because my spirit is very competitive. Now I'm gonna take everything you own. You're gonna end up giving it to me anyway.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna beat you for it. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna do what I do and let my gift and my talents make room for me. And if you got something I was going for, well, clearly that wasn't mine, and mine is yet to come. So I can celebrate you, right? And hold on to my whatever. But it's teaching me how to manage my emotional self.
Okay.
Right? Because it's not personal. It's just how folks show up.
Yeah.
Or it's how the culture requires them to show up, and they've bought into it.
Yeah.
So sometimes I have to catch myself, right? Because I get angry at somebody. I'm like, yeah, but they don't know any different, because that's what they were supposed to do. That's what they're supposed to say, because that's what the culture shapes.
Right.
Right? So it's just for me to kind of learn to value who I am, value my opinion, value my beliefs.
Okay.
And then take my time.
Yeah. Were you at the fashion show we had here over the summer?
Absolutely. I wouldn't have missed it for anything. All my peoples were there.
Yeah.
Javier, Andres, Mario, all my people were there. And some of the models too, yeah.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
Yeah, it was a good
awesome.
time. I'm so proud of what SoHarlem has done in terms of just being a kind of an anchor for a lot of great talent, And I saw at your show, you've been, helping putting them on your platform as well. So it seems like we got an ecosystem going here.
And I think it's that season, at least for us as a people.
Yeah.
Because when I went to Spain, I saw the same thing.
Okay.
When I went to Portugal, I saw the same thing. And then I realized that's what SoHarlem is doing.
Yeah.
So as a people, we're trying to figure out how to take care of our young ones.
Yeah.
Right? We're trying to give platforms for the ones that are coming through.
Yeah.
We're trying to create space for them. I think that's an awesome thing.
Yeah.
Because that's who we are.
Yeah.
Right?
For sure. And even outside of just, fashion, obviously that ideal is important. And, it has to happen in the music industry too. I feel like that's a whole new can of worms.
We gotta pray on that one.
Yeah. I mean, what, like, I know you're still learning and all that and experiencing, but like, what are some things, like, everyone wants to be an artist now, I feel, you know, so many creatives out there. What are some things you've experienced in that world, you know, because you have a different outlook, obviously.
Well, I was talking to someone as I was coming here, and he knows a mom who has a young son, and he's in good places. But when he travels, he's traveling deep. And nobody in the group has got a job to make him look better.
Right.
Right?
Right.
So it's this whole concept, even that I'm learning around Pop and, like, you know, some of the people who were always with him, but once he was gone, nobody knew me.
Okay.
Right? So if you were really his dog, if you was really his man's,
Yeah.
shouldn't you be somewhere near his mother or his family, or, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's just that learning that, you know, people travel with you for what they can get from you.
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily a horrible thing, right? Done, I guess, respectfully.
Yeah.
But we need to teach our young people to be mindful of the crowd. I mean, you want your boys and your girls with you because, you know, you started out with them.
Yeah.
But they can't go all the way with you. Everybody can't go with you. And we need to teach them how to manage themselves as far as their contracts are concerned, and, you know, what to sign, what not to sign. Have somebody look at it. Don't be thirsty.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Those types of things. So it's just that I've been kind of looking at and trying to figure out how I could, you know, make a difference in that area.
Yeah, that's true. Because a lot of people are, like you said, thirsty to get the deal, and they don't realize what they're signing up for.
My God, like, if I say sometimes that if Shar sang it in his bathroom at age 12, the contract that he signed says they owned it.
Right.
That's crazy.
That is. Yeah.
That is absolutely insane.
Yeah. Speaking of that, is there? I don't know the legality of it, and not trying to cross any lines, but do you have music you're able to release? Like, what is that process like?
They're saying that they themselves, the label itself, doesn't have anymore anything that's usable. But I also believe that there are people that he worked with who have things, and they're waiting for the right time.
Okay, gotcha.
They're waiting for the right time.
Because, you know, I was out literally last night and was hearing it, you know, so it's,
He's
the audience,
everywhere, that boy.
Yeah, it's crazy. The audience is still very, very much there, you know?
Yeah.
And so talk a little bit about the foundation and some of the work you're doing with that.
You know, and that for him was a big thing.
Yeah.
You know, so I've been curating that in a way that speaks to what I understood he wanted to happen, and who we are as a family and a team. So we are in the community. A lot of what we do is free to the community.
Right.
We want to address the issues of the community, the violence in the community. But I guess for me, as an educator, it's important to me that we understand why we do what we do, right? I don't just want to take you off the street for 3 hours. In the 3 hours that I have you off the street, I need your mindset to reset, right? So that when you go outside, you've got a little something to resist a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not going to say you're going to go outside and turn the world over and, you know, be able to resist everything, but just be able to think a little bit longer before you jump in or participate.
Yeah.
You know, so we do a lot of that. We have television, which is our program that we do with young people. We work with the summer youth. Okay. And now they have an extended component where if those young people want to take a college course, they take the course, they do well, they then get placed in internships and paid internships, and the city pays for that. So I get the kids, I place them, and then I do some self-development work with them. Okay. You know, and then just the other things that building community and creating safe space, creating, we talk about self. It's sacred space, which is safe space for young people or people in general to come and, be comfortable having conversations, right? Experience. We try to provide exposure and experience because a lot of our young people, they don't leave their community. Right? And they look at certain things as corny so that they don't bother trying it. Right? And love is a real thing, but it's not. Sometimes it's not quantifiable. But in a space where there's love, there's no judgment.
Yeah, that's
right.
true.
So I try to provide an environment where there is no judgment. So you come in how you come in, you talk how you talk. If anything needs to shift, it'll shift when it comes in. Because if you're paying attention and everybody else, you're the only one doing it, you're at least going to think, well, why am I doing it? Nobody else is doing it. So there's a conversation, right? I don't have to try and change you. You're going to seek out some information. And family. So family, not just the nuclear family, but community, right? Because, it's a little bit different for me. I grew up upstate New York, so as I'm walking to school, the shops in the community were owned by the families in the community. So I went to school with people who own, you know what I'm saying? But that's a smaller village kind of environment. But there's no reason why, the guy at the bodega shouldn't know you and not be afraid of you. Like if I'm looking for you, I should be able to, ask Jose, you see my son?
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And have him say, yeah, he was here. He was with so-and-so and so-and-so, and then they went such and such a place. Because it's family, it's community.
Yeah.
Right? So.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons I really love Harlem, at least in my neighborhood. You still have that, where countless times I was doing dumb stuff, and the elders made sure I was, I got back home on time, which is key. And I don't know, I feel like New York is getting so freaking expensive, and we're losing that a little bit, sadly, So I like just to say that's obviously vital, vital work. What's going on for the rest of the year? Any exciting updates that people should know about?
We have our work with women that we're going to do in April. I'm being invited to speak in other places, so that's the newest thing that's happening. People kind of know that I'm here now, so I'm being asked to speak at different events.
Are you enjoying that?
Yeah, but because that was what I wanted to do. My plan before my world got turned upside down was to retire and then build a little, side gig where I would do speaking engagements and those kinds of things. So, he's given me a larger platform to do that on. And so it's the women in April, and then we look to, the fashions in June, and then the Carnival Week in July, which, encompasses his birthday. And then in December, we do Bringing Hallmark to the Hood, a December to Remember, where we do kind of that traditional thing. There's some people out here who, right after Halloween, we don't watch anything else besides Hallmark movies.
Interesting.
Right, because nothing goes wrong in those Hallmark movies. You come back to your old community. There might be a little disagreement with an old friend, but you work it out, and everything is good at the end of the movie. So we try to create that Christmas village. For that one day.
I like that.
For the kids and families to come. We give away toys and gifts and household things, so everybody gets something. There's food, there's music. We just have a good time. Santa and Mrs. Claus.
That's amazing. I love a good Hallmark movie.
See, I told you.
Yeah, I told those are underrated.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, there we go.
My new friend.
that makes a lot of sense. Speaking of just community in general, I like to ask all the guests here, since this is a New York City media platform, when you think of New York or your neighborhood, what are a couple things that come to mind that are positive, and some things that that you think New York City should work on?
So in my neighborhood and in my community, I think one of the good pieces that we, at least when the children were younger, so now that the children are grown, I don't see it as much, and I guess because we're not outside as much. But when the kids were growing up, we all kind of knew each other, and we all knew the children. We knew what block they were playing on and stuff like that. I think we just need to go back to that, keep doing that, not allow ourselves to be pulled in by the phone. And that's probably what it is, because the kids they've got their laptops, their phones, all the games that they can do by themselves or inside and still be talking to you 6 miles away. They no longer go outside, for real, right?
True.
Which then kind of leaves outside to be taken over by elements that don't need to have outside, right? Because if we're all inside, then the only folks that are outside are the folks that, may not be doing all the right things.
That's true.
So we need to kind of go back outside and play.
Yeah, that's what I did. I was just playing sports when I was younger.
See?
Yeah, that's how I made most of my friends.
So whether you were in the front of the building or you were in the backyard because you had a house or you were outside.
Right. Yeah.
As opposed to now that I'm playing a game with you and you're not even in the building with me, much less in my room.
I can't imagine. There's so much information coming at if I was like a 12-year-old and I had this, I don't know.
But they don't know, but they were born into that.
That's true.
Right? True. So they don't know any different. So it's it's for us to, show them a rotary phone and penmanship and those kinds of things, that are now, quote unquote, old, but they're coming back in. Even in doing fashion, in looking at fashion, I'm quite upset that all the stuff I threw away and gave away are back in style. I could have kept my stuff.
Yeah, that's true.
But life is just cycling itself. It really is just cycling itself.
Yeah, that is true. The fashion world is always kind of repeating. Those trends will come back.
But even behaviorally for people, we go completely to one point and we go so far to the left or the right that somebody's like, wait a minute, there's got to be something besides those two extremes.
Yeah.
And then so people start,
that's
talking
true.
to each other.
Question: there's a lot of people, especially in New York, whose children are having some success or on a good path, and then things can obviously get more complicated, as you know. From your experience, what is maybe some advice, some words of wisdom you would have for these parents that are trying to kind of guide?
Stay involved. And I know that when they're teenagers, it is their job to not want you.
Yeah.
It is literally a part of how they become adults, right? Yeah. To just kind of move away from you, figure out who they are, and kind of come back at some point. But try to figure out how to stay at least on the edge so you can see it.
Yeah.
Never, ever throw your hands up and say, whatever.
Okay.
Never, ever.
Yeah.
I don't care how difficult, how obnoxious. Never, ever.
Yeah.
Because that's your assignment, right? That's your assignment.
Yeah.
So stay on your job.
Yeah.
Till it's completed.
Yeah, that's true. Especially, we talked about fashion, music industry. Those are complicated businesses with a lot of different people pulling you. So I feel like that you need that presence that doesn't have an agenda in your life.
And now that we know some of the things that go on behind the scene, you can't walk away from your child.
No.
You cannot.
Yeah.
So no matter how, big and tough and rough, go with your picnic and see what I'm gonna do.
Yeah.
Don't do that. Don't leave them alone.
Right.
Ask the questions. Let them be annoyed.
Yeah.
But get some information, and then see what you can put around them. Because if your energy is about that, then the person will come that can watch them for you or look out for them when you're not there.
Yeah.
Because you're putting it out. That's what's needed. It'll come.
I like that. And then in terms of just if there's any exclusive new stuff that's happening that, we can get a Young Atlas exclusive on some new endeavors, whatever that's happening, the people would love to know,
Okay, well, this year we go back to Spain, but we're going back as the people bringing the Fashion Week.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So and we've got a good relationship with a particular university in Spain. So, that's coming up. We'll let you in on it.
Okay.
When it starts coming through. We're really looking to build with them, not just to get this fashion show done, but to figure out how we can partner, and bridge the ocean. Let's see.
So tell me about the Spanish culture. You said you've got a lot of inspiration from them.
Well, when growing up, my best friend is a Puerto Rican. You
Okay.
know, right? So I mean, I grew up. A matter of fact, there was a season when I spoke more Spanish than I thought. You know, you grow up and you grow away from. But I had that just, and my husband, the boy's father,
Okay.
is Panamanian. So you know, it's a culture that I enjoy being a part of. And in Spain, it's a little different, right? Because it's not Spanish; it's Portuguese, and the little difference. But it's a really rich culture, and I enjoyed being there and meeting the people and just kind of seeing how we are alike.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah. I went to Spain once when I was much younger, and I think it was in Valencia, they were burning all of those big pieces. I don't know what it was called, but it was really there was a lot going on over there. It was,
And people have the same struggle.
Yeah.
You know, we all have the same struggle. It just maybe looks a little bit different. But when you go in. What's important for me, and I tell that to my team, it's that it's important that we work with the community.
Yeah.
Like, and when we get there, we can't price ourselves out of the reach of the everyday person.
For sure.
Right? So it's really because, like, for me, the community is what has helped to nurture my kids. Right? Village, that extended village, is a big thing in my world, and that comes from having a relationship with the people at the churches, the people at the school, the people in the different shops in the community. That comes from all of that.
Yeah.
So when you're creating something to give back,
Yeah.
you need to give back at the level where it really can be appreciated and or is needed.
Definitely, and that's kind of like with policing and anything. If you're actually involved in the community, you know, you can understand where things are coming from better.
Because if you know the children's parents,
Right, exactly.
right, or these are kids that are in your neighborhood, then there's a different response than if you know, once you take off your hat and your belt,
Yeah.
you're on the highway an hour and a half away.
Yeah, exactly. And there's so much of that.
Right.
You know, there are a lot of unfamiliar faces. So for people watching, if they want to get involved with the foundation, help out, like what are the ways they can do that?
Shootforthestars.org. Just go on there. We always have a volunteer sign up.
Okay.
When we're having any events, we very much so put out a volunteer list that people can choose which one of the events that they want to do. Like say for the summer when we do a whole week of the festival, people can literally sign up for which one of those events they'd like to come and volunteer at.
Okay.
So, you know, I've got some people that are with me now that volunteered like 2 years ago. One of the makeup artists, and she just volunteered to volunteer.
Okay.
And she's now one of our makeup artists.
That's great.
You know, so they can just go to shootforthestars.org.
Well, we'd love to do some media at some of your future events, you know, to help out and get the message out
Better
there.
not say something you don't want to do.
Hey, if it's not me, it'll be someone on the team. You know. And then I wanted to obviously ask. I have just a couple more questions. Javier, one of my favorite people. He's obviously
Yes.
here. What's the experience been working with him so far?
Amazing.
Yeah.
So we started. I was introduced to SoHarlem, and so when I started doing this, someone said, "Come and speak to Henry."
Yeah.
And Henry gave me Javier, Mario, and Andres.
Okay.
And so they are 3 of the 4 designs that I chose from the first year. And not because they were given to me, but I really like the pieces that were done.
Yeah.
And so now Javier is now our creative director.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So he's fully on board. He's, you know, making designs and being a really amazing mentor
Yeah.
to the designers, you know. So it's just been, and you just learn things from him. You know, he tells you, you know, how you can take it in and make it look a little bit different. Our line was pretty much a spring line, but we introduced it in the winter, and he made that thing look like a winter outfit, you know. So
Gotcha.
he's just always thinking and just knows is how to pull the right pieces and things together.
I saw some pics from the event at, what was it, the TWA?
Oh yes, 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 yes.
That was cool.
That's
Yeah.
right. So that was the gala.
That was the gala.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. How was that?
That was awesome. I mean, so that now was just our playing with the process, not playing. That's how we choose our designers. We put a
Gotcha.
call out for designers.
Okay.
They come, they show us their stuff. We choose 8.
Okay.
The 8 design 4 looks, right? So we present 32 looks at the gala, and then from that I choose 4.
Gotcha.
And so those 4 designers, we purchase their design from them. But Javier and his group kind of set the standard. They stayed with me through the whole process.
Right.
So the rule now is that if we choose one of your pieces, that you stay with us through the whole design process.
Okay.
And again, to provide opportunities for the designers. So going back to Spain this year, the designers who were with, the 4 that are chosen for this year will go with us.
Nice.
Right? And then we're going to look for some people there to join us to make it show.
Gotcha.
Right? So
That's
the
great.
same opportunity we gave here, we're going to give there.
Yeah. For any designers watching, any tips, advice you would have since you've
To be a part of that?
to be a part of it, or just in general for to be a successful designer since you're around so many, you must be learning a lot.
Go for yours. Go for it. I mean, I think one of the things that the more I get to know what my son did, the more I see me.
Yeah.
Right? And the whole thing is that if you decided that you want something, do what you have to do to get it.
Yeah.
Don't allow people to discourage you. Go for it.
Yeah.
And as simple, that sounds like iconic, but that's literally all it is. If you decide that you want it, go for it.
Yeah. And just be, like you said, be yourself, because that authenticity, people can pick up on that,
And push through the difficult part. What I'm finding with this generation of young people, when it gets tough, they give up.
Yeah.
Because they figure, and I don't know if it's because it's not just oh my God, I can't do this. I think it's I don't know what else to do. Like I've given it all I've got. How come it's not working? Because you need to push past this.
Right.
Right. It's not failure. It's not you've come to the end. It's push past this.
That's true. I also think I have mixed feelings on it, but I feel like everyone's an entrepreneur now, which I don't think it's for everyone. That's my personal opinion. I feel like you have to be somewhat relentless, in order to do that. You know what I mean? It's like eating glass and looking into the abyss. Like people are like, oh, I want to start my own business. I'm like, yeah, that's great, but it's like it's not so fun all the time, But I don't know. That's just my personal thoughts. I feel like you got to have something a little off to want to do your own thing,
But here's the flip side to that.
Yeah.
Because we have, however they do, the generations of young people who were born into
Yeah.
right? Before there was
That's true.
there was nothing. And the reason there were this, that, and the other things because if I could fix shoes, I fixed shoes. If I could sew, I sewed. If I could make butter, I made butter,
Yeah.
So, and we're getting to a place where jobs are being taken from people.
100%.
You have to learn how to survive. And so the only way you're going to be able to survive is on the thing that you're gifted and talented at.
Yeah.
So it's about figuring out how to have that thing help you to survive life.
Definitely.
It's no longer, I think when people think entrepreneur, they're thinking, oh, a cute moment and, all that kind of excitement, but it's survival mode now.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly.
It's look at what you can do, and even if it's a side hustle, create that thing, develop that thing.
100%. And like you said, when those difficult moments come, you have to kind of embrace that, because that's what it's all about.
Because that's the hump you got to get over.
Yeah.
That's the hump you got to get over.
Yeah, exactly. So my last question for you is, well, I have 2 more. In terms of, I've done a good amount of research and stuff on you, and you've always, presented and been so empathetic and just kind. Like, how do you deal with just the just keeping your mental like so, caring, and you just as a nice person all the time. It must be difficult out here.
I don't see certain things.
Okay.
That's what I recognize. I have, and this is me looking at me now, right?
Yeah.
Up until now, I am just who I am.
Yeah.
But that's a good question, right? That's a question I need to ask myself.
Yeah.
Right? Those are the kind of questions we ask ourselves. Certain things I don't see.
Yeah.
So I don't interpret it. I can't receive it as shade or whatever if I don't
I see what
see
you're
it.
saying. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I can always kind of genuinely be me because I am genuinely concerned as to, now why would you say that if there's no need to say that?
Yeah.
Why are you doing that?
Right.
I've always had this capacity for looking at other people's why in behavior, which led me to be a special needs teacher, right? Because you have young people in front of you who are doing things that just doesn't make sense, right? But you've got to figure out what they're trying to say to you in the thing that they're doing, right? So it could be a gift, it could be my superpower, or it could be like some things I literally, it doesn't occur to me that it could be that. So I'm not avoiding it, it just doesn't exist in my world. And then when it does intrude, then I have to really work on figuring out, well, how are you going to respond to that now?
That's true.
Yeah,
that's a good approach. And then my last question, because obviously people will want to know, maybe is there a couple things that the fans or people out there wouldn't know about Pop that you would like to tell them?
He was really looking forward to being a family man.
Okay.
He really was. He was looking forward to being a family man. He was looking forward to that.
Okay. Wow.
Forward to that.
At a young age too.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay. That's great. Any last words? Any plugs you'd like to make for things that are happening before we end here?
Any plugs? Just keep track of us on shootforthestars.org. Whatever's coming up, we'll be there. Spain is big for us this year as far as fashion is concerned, because this is our first full year in the fashion world for real. And just come hang out with us. Because what I've found is that we've been creating a lot of just spaces. Because I guess we create sacred space, a lot of our events just turn out to be moments where people just want to hang out.
That's awesome.
So just come hang with us.
I will be there to hang and do some media. Where can people follow you on, like Instagram or social?
Well, shootforthestars.org. Mine is AB Milk, the letter N, honey.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Any speaking engagements? Hit you up.
There's some in the works, and since you're asking for exclusive things, when I get it, I'll let you know.
Please do.
When I tie it down, I'll definitely. I know I'm speaking for Man Up at their event for women.
Oh, nice.
Right, so that's coming up, and I know I'm doing something, I think in DC later on down in the year, but I'll let you know.
So this year is looking fun. A lot happening.
Yeah.
That's great. That's great. Well, keep up the amazing work. If there's anything we can do, we're here for you.
I appreciate you. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for coming by today. I really enjoyed this conversation.